Yo, what is up? Listen, I got this video coming out for you because it's a subject that comes up all the time. And I am sitting, waiting for work. Actually, I was at home and I was thinking about doing this video. And I was like, why wait? So I came to work early just so that I could sit in this car and do this video for you. All right, so the subject is sweet and simple. It's Angelfish and Discus. Should it be done? How to do it? And how to go, you know, what is the possible issues? So here we go. First of all, the question of, can you put angels and discus together? The quick and easy answer is yep. Yep, you sure can. But there's a couple of things you have to remember. And I'm going to go into that and you'll understand why it's more important in following these procedures to get it done after the video. But here we go. So first thing you have to think about when putting angels and discus together is their personality types. All right, let's start with the angel. The angel is an outgoing, I don't want to say aggressive, but enthusiastic personality type. They're not shy. They're not pushovers. As far as aggression goes, angels are really only aggressive to themselves. I rarely see angels going after other fish unless there are eggs or baby angelfish that they are protecting involved. But other than that, angels normally only push other angels around for mating purposes and territory. Okay, angels are freaking pigs. They are, when it comes to food, angels are very greedy. They'll eat until their guts explode. And they're not shy. A lot of times you can get an angel from the store, and that very same day it'll be eating if you provide food for it. So as far as food goes, they are not shy whatsoever. In fact, I've rarely ever seen another fish that is so aggressive when it comes to food. And when I say aggressive, I'm not saying they fighting off other fish. Get away from my food. No, they are, I'm gonna get this food, you know. So those two things, just keep that in mind, because we're gonna talk about the discus. Discus, oh, another thing about angels, they normally acclimate to the aquarium pretty quickly. Put them in the tank, they spend very little time, unless they are wild caught. But the ordinary designer angels, the fish that you buy from the pet store, the colorful ones, the kois, the blues, the marbles, the golds, they that's what I call designer. They normally are not shy once you put them in the tank, whereas other fish, sometimes it takes them a couple of days to get used to their environment. Angelfish pretty much do it immediately for the most part. Now let's talk about the discus. Discus are more shy. When you put a discus in the tank, for the most part, there are exceptions to every rule. Here's the problem with what I'm talking about is there's no guarantees when it comes to fish. I can tell you everything I know and experience about angels, and then you get that one angel someone else gets that does the complete opposite. So there's no guarantees. Let me put that out there. But for the most part, it's generally true. Discus are pretty shy. You put them in the tank, they normally take a couple days before they feel safe enough to just swim out and about like you expect them to do. For the most part, wild angels, wild discus, this is especially true. Captive bred discus don't take as long before they, you know, come out and about. They aren't as aggressive feeders as angels are. So, you know, it takes them a while to kind of ease up to the food and start eating it and stuff. And even when they do eat, it's very dainty. Okay, so now when discus are spawning, they do have their little territorial disputes with other fish. you know, get away from my eggs and stuff like that, but they're nowhere as vicious as angels. So how could you put this very shy fish and with this very you know, an angelfish? You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say aggressive because that's the wrong word. I'm not trying to use that word. I'm working my hardest not to say aggressive. With this very rambunctious, how about that? Rambunctious fish. What you have to do is this. Before I tell you that, let me go into a little other specifics. Angels and discus eat the same diet. Angels and discus, normally people keep angels at around 80 degrees and people normally keep discus at about 84, 85 degrees. Don't be shy about jacking that temperature up on the angels at 85 degrees. Just because people normally keep them there, that's not, in the wild, they're right there next to discus. So 85 degrees is just fine for angels, just most people don't do it. Don't know why, but they just don't do it. Angels will do fine in 85 degrees. In fact, one of the problems with 85 degrees is it'll raise their metabolism. They'll be a little bit more active. You know, the warmer the temperature, the more active it is. So yeah, you wanna keep the temperature about 84 degrees, 85 degrees for the discus, and the angels are just fine with it. Trust me, they live like that in the wild. Their diets are primarily the same. Omnivorous, leaning towards the carnivorous. So they'll eat both veggie and meat matter, but they lean more towards the meat matter. Tank Decor. Both these fish are slim and tall, and the reason for that is they'll hide in large in vertical structures like roots that may be coming down from trees, tall grasses. So their decoration, the tank requirements for decoration on both of them is identical. The tank size, these fish both need tall tanks, so you don't want to do a shallow tank. So 55s and above for this combination. If you can get domestically raised homebred discus and wild angels, what that will do is that'll make the discus a little bit more outgoing than the the wild caught discus, and the angels, being that they're wild caught, they'll be a little bit more subdued than the designer angels. So you're trying to bring their personality levels a little bit close, but angels are still going to be more rambunctious, but it ain't gonna, you know, you're trying to level it out a little bit. You definitely, listen to me, because this is the key to the whole scenario. You definitely want to have larger discus in the tank before you put in the angels. You want these discus to be acclimated. You want these discus to be out and about and eating vigorously before you put in the angels. Now, when you do put in the angels, and I'm not saying you have to use wild caught, you can use domestic angels, but when you do put in the angels, make sure they're little. Make sure they're little. The reason why is very simple. If you put in angels and discus the same size at the same time, the angels will acclimate so much faster that they will eat the majority of the food before these dainty discus can get to it. It's not a matter of aggression, it's just a matter of personality types. So you want to put in the angels when they're little, and you want to put in the discus when they're large and acclimated. You want them in the tank for, let's say, 6 months, you know, 3 to 6 months, where they're out and about and they're comfortable with you, they're not skittish, and then you can introduce the smaller angels. That way the discus will not get out competed for food. That's the biggest problem, is the food competition. You know what I mean? And as the angels grow into their size, the discus will grow to understand their eating habits, and they'll, you know, come together accordingly, where the discus will, you know, not necessarily let these angels bully them away from the food as much. What do you do when you have angels? I'm gonna let you know right now. Angels and discus, when you treat them correct, they will spawn. They will spawn the same exact way on the same exact surfaces. So what do you do? Well, this is the time where you got to figure out if you want to do breeding for profit, or you want to remove the male or the female of either, or if you don't feel like it, or you can just move them to another tank, sell them, whatever. You can get, I mean, I know if you have really nice designer angels, you know, like the blues or the Philippines, or you can get up to $400 for a breeding pair of angels and discus, you know, depending. Let's say $200 for the angels and the $400 for the discus. Sometimes they're both $400. I don't know. So that's the way you do it. That's the way you can get away with this, okay? And that's really, in my opinion, the only way to do it properly. I mean, I've heard other people want to do it different ways, and they have different concerns and all that, but trust me, that's the way to go. That's your best bet on having success with keeping angels and discus in the same aquarium.